CC, the decision to bench Butler, did that cost the Patriots?
Absolutely. It costs them because you're going against a team that plays 3 receivers most of the time, a team that doesn't have a fullback that they use on a regular basis. So you need Malcolm Butler because you need Rowe to be the nickel. And we know that at this point in the season, Stephon Gilmore, he's done a transformation on the other side from compared to the way he started the season, being very rough. So when you decide to bench Malcolm Butler, just from an X's and O's standpoint, you put Rowe in the game, so he's got to play 70 snaps. Man, the Eagles went after him. I mean, he is not Malcolm Butler as a player.
Jonathan Batamosi's getting defensive snaps.
Yeah, so what it does also is from a coverage standpoint, and Philadelphia was able to exploit this. It makes their safeties have to guard either Nelson Aguilar or someone else in the slot. And that's what you could see throughout the game.
Right.
Chung guarding Nelson Aguilar making big play after big play, conversion, moving the sticks. And that was a huge difference in the game. Now, Belichick's not going to explain it. New England, they keep all these things in-house. But when you decide to not play a guy who's played the most snaps, and this was more important, they dressed him.
That's
so
the key.
They wasted a roster spot in the biggest game of the year. And the thing that I don't know what happened, but I do know the effect. Him being benched affected these other guys and their ability to get a Super Bowl. So Belichick, whatever he had going on, it affected Tom Brady and the rest of that roster because that was not the best New England team that could have been on the field.
Man, the offense did its job.
Yes.
Period, point blank. The offense, you go there, score 33 points in the Super Bowl despite a missed extra point, despite a missed field goal. The defense could not get off the field. Philadelphia, 10 of 16 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth down, so essentially 12 of 16 in chances to get off the field. And the fact that he dressed is a key component of this. You have 53-man roster. You can dress 46 on game day.
Yes.
So there's 7 guys that are not going to count for your game day allotment. If this were that Belichick was insistent after the game that it was not disciplinary, meaning he didn't miss curfew, he didn't get arrested, and we didn't know about it. If it were disciplinary and you're benching him, you don't dress him. The fact that he dressed tells me I believe Belichick. It wasn't disciplinary. But this guy played every single defensive snap of both playoff games leading up to this.
Right. Now, this is not the first time he's been benched this year. In the preseason, he got benched. He got off to a slow start. Belichick said he wasn't pleased with his overall performance. But this is one of the things about Bill Belichick. It's all nice when you win it. But I'm going to tell you, he's very, very dismissive to players. And it came back to haunt him because it affected their ability to be able to play defense. And when you have a safety guarding a wide receiver, that is not his strong suit. You saw Chung during the game. There was a couple times he had to be helped off the field. And because Belichick decides to keep Butler on the sideline, it affects the rest of the team.
You can't swallow your pride when you see that your defense actually does need him. Not when you're playing okay and you know you don't and you want to make a point.
No, because he thinks that no one is bigger than the team. But in this case, the team as a whole suffered because of the decision that you made. Now, all practice, they went through the same lineup. Malcolm Butler was in all the practices. Now, even if they were going to start Rowe, they didn't tell him until after the national anthem. So how are you going to tell someone one of your frontline players is not in the game and it's not going to have an effect? You got a guy that's in his 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years. He's crying on the sideline as they get ready to prepare to start the game.
And I know people probably know this, but just a reminder, yes, if you're thinking was that him, he is the guy that picked off Russell Wilson. Yeah. He is the guy that made...
He did win you a Super Bowl.
He did win you a Super Bowl.
One of the 5 that you won, he won it.
And, by the way, that was the Super Bowl that changed everything. Because had they lost that Super Bowl, the narrative surrounding Brady and Belichick would have been, haven't won a Super Bowl since '04, had lost 3 in a row. The whole thing, everything is different if Malcolm Butler doesn't make that A-plus play. Talked about this before the show. Just knocking the ball down against Seattle would have been an A-level play.
Yes.
And then Seattle would have had a 3rd and goal from the 1, and they probably run it there. The fact that he made one of the greatest plays ever to win you a Super Bowl. which leads me to believe, Jenna, you were asking before the show and during the breaks, like, why would this happen? And I couldn't come up with an answer. Like, we don't know because Belichick's a little mercurial. But one thing that occurred to me that might sound crazy is if Belichick thinks he can win without you, man, it's a great, hey.
It's a great negotiating ploy.
And a message to send to anyone, negotiating not just with him, but with anybody else on the team. Hey, guess what? You remember that guy that won us a Super Bowl? Who's one of our, even though he's had a bad year, he admitted he had a bad year, one of our more talented defensive backs in a contract year.
Watch what I do to him.
Watch what I do to him. Think what I'll do to you. Like you said, it's all fine and good if Nick Foles throws 3 picks and you win this game 38-13. It's not so good when you allow Nick Foles to throw for near 400 yards.
And it bears repeating again, he played every snap of the first 2 playoff games for the Patriots and almost 98% of their defensive snaps all season long.
How much of a difference, Jenna? What's the difference between 6-2 with your Super Bowl record and 5-3?
Well, that's a good point. All right, coming up, how did the Eagles catch the